the guys.
officials,
Yeah.
I don't think they made one mistake last night,
No,
that
they-
they reshowed and reshowed.
yeah.
Okay, would you all please rise and we'll recite the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Andy will not be joining us today. He's out of town. We are going to kind of change things up a little bit. We're going to go into executive session, discuss personnel prior to us really getting into the study session. And when we come back, it shouldn't take too long. We'll go with public comment. So could I have a motion to go into closed session for personnel? Dan moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're gonna go into executive session, folks.
Good job, Odie.
Yeah, way to go, Log.
Come on in, folks.
Where's your money?
Get that
What?
big money, Odie.
95?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
no kidding.
You want that cat in my car? I'll give it to you. I'll drop it off today.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start up the study session again. Thanks for being patient with us. We're gonna go to public comment. We ask that you identify yourself and restrict your comments to 5 minutes. So, whoever would like to go, if there is anybody.
We're just here to listen,
Okay.
so,
Welcome.
thank you.
You wanna go?
Randy was raising his hand.
Nope,
So.
I was just gonna let people go first, and I'll be
Well, we've
last
just
one.
got committee reports, so.
Okay. I'm trying to make sure I understand everything, that's why I haven't brought a lot of people with me yet. The tax, the 7 townships, I'm trying to understand that real good.
In the ambulance district,
Pardon?
in
Yes,
the special ambulance
Yes.
district, yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. Now, if I understand right, it runs a year behind, correct? In rearages,
No.
right?
No,
Yes.
we're gonna be collecting money to pay for the new contract starting in May.
The new what? I'm sorry.
New contract in June. We'll have the money to start paying that in June.
But I'm just asking to make sure I understand it correctly, but it runs a year behind, correct?
Well, the tax money is from 23 that's paid in 24.
The contract ends, you're gonna bid it in May?
No,
Right.
we'll bid it right after the first of the year. And it'll
But
go
it has
into
to be
effect
done, okay.
June. It'll go into effect, the new contract, the
Yes.
5-year contract ends May 31st, and the new contract
Yes.
starts June 1.
Yes,
And we're collecting this coming year, the property tax from 23 is collectible in 24, and then it'll be paid out in 24.
so it's not a year behind.
No,
No,
So you paid it out before it ever starts. But what I'm trying to say, you don't, that's the way I always understood it, but I might be wrong. Okay,
Well, all
but I'm
I-
just asking, because I wanna make sure that I understand those. And when it comes time to bid those,
mhm.
they'll either one be non-for-profit, or they could be a private individual ambulance company. It could be a out-of-state ambulance service that can come in to the county.
we had that one year,
Yes,
Terre Haute.
yes,
They have to be in business for 1 year,
I've been in business 1 year, yeah,
but they can come from anywhere,
right,
okay?
but they have to have facilities
right.
here
Yes.
in the county,
Yes,
or
Yes.
in this area right
But
now.
yeah, anybody can bid, it's just
yes,
not,
that's correct. Yeah.
yes. Right.
So, and then the question there is, if you're, because I'm trying to make sure I understand it correctly. If, whether you're a nonprofit or you're a private individual, okay? If you're nonprofit, actually, you already receive funds from the county, they're tax exempt. Well, if they're out of the tax rolls, what I'm trying to ask. If a business is out of the tax rolls, you follow what I'm saying? If let's say, okay, let's use the hospital as an example. They don't pay real estate taxes. They get they don't pay any taxes on that area, correct? I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
Non-for-profit, I don't know if you
Yes.
understand, they have to give out so much money a year for people to come in, am I correct? Non-for-profit doesn't mean they don't get money, they get money, but they have to pay out so much a
Right.
year for people that can't afford the health care.
Yes,
That's what non-for-profit
Yes.
basically is for the hospital, people don't pay taxes.
right.
Some of these questions can be, this is for comments by, this is technically not a question and answer.
Okay,
session.
I'm sorry. I was
Okay,
just-
no, just so you understand, we have folks that you can go see in the assessment office or the clerk's office to get you information about this, okay?
So to get the correct information, I wanna make sure that I know those answers and that I'm not.
It's a little
But
complicated,
really,
yes.
really, the money we're gonna pay for the ambulance service, no matter if they get it, somebody else gets
Right.
it, is gonna go for their expenses. It's not gonna go for profit, it's not money in their pocket.
Well-
It's to pay for the ambulance service.
Correct.
And actually, the ambulance service is gonna be a lot more expensive than what the tax is. So
I
the hospital
understand,
gotta
yes.
pay some out of their pocket.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct?
Again, this is not a question
Yeah,
and
I
answer,
understand, I
okay?
understand. I'm
And
just
they may
trying,
not be in a position
Right,
to
right.
answer,
That's fine.
okay?
I'll be quiet.
No, I didn't,
I worked
I
out
was
there
just trying to make
25
sure I
years, so
understood it all
understand.
too. I always had the understanding it was always a year behind
No.
on taxes, because that first year, they don't receive it until the,
No, they
Okay.
will start receiving it right away. Anybody with just general comments, then we'll go into the ambulance report.
Yeah, I do. My name's Troy Eads, and I'm from up in Hume, Illinois. And I'm going what he's saying about the ambulance. I just brought up another point I wanted to bring up was, we have a Northern Edgar County ambulance taxing district, but I'd like to know who sets that rate for the budget.
It's by contract.
Is it the county board sets that?
We approved a contract which bid out X amount of dollars per year. And it was $250,000 a year for the next 5 years.
Okay, so, but who sets that rate? Does
We
the
do.
county? All right, so do we have an ambulance board?
No,
So if, who chooses a contract of that provider?
it's done by bid,
All right, so the county board does as a whole, right?
right?
So, but as a local citizen that pays those taxes, right? If we don't have somebody in between the county board and us, I feel that that's taxation without representation. Meaning, like people that live in there making those decisions for our ambulance service should be. But I can't hold Carl Farnham accountable if he makes a decision on my ambulance provider, because I can't vote for him.
We had a committee that came up with all of the specs on that, which was a general committee up through that area.
Yeah,
We
okay.
had 5 or 6 people on, but it doesn't exist right now. They exist when the contracts come up.
Only when the contracts come up, not to talk about the quality, not to talk
The way
about.
the state law reads is that we're responsible, okay? And that's where
Okay.
we accept.
All right, that's fine, thank you, but I just wanted that covered, but, the other thing is on our 911 board, I was looking at your appointments for who's on the 911 committee or who's in charge of that, and I noticed that, Carl Farnham's name's on there, but, with that, I didn't see anybody else's name. But I'd like to know who makes the appointments, or who makes the decisions to make those appointments for the county board.
I recommend to the board and they approve it.
All right, so I would recommend that your name be put on that, over the 911 also, because Carl's on that 911 board, right? But the resolution that was passed in 1991 to create a 911 board specifically states that the county board would be the ones that'll do that, not the chairman himself, right? So I think there needs to be a little bit of investigation on the resolution that was passed, or the resolution might need to be updated to create such language as how you guys are appropriating the personnel on that board at this
Jeff
time.
recommends it, but we all vote.
Yeah, so,
Seven members vote.
yeah, and I understand that, but the recommendations of the resolution that was passed in 91, or I believe it's
It
91
just says
states,
the board.
that says that the board will do that. So I would recommend to update that resolution to contain that the chairman will recommend whoever's on that board, and then the board will vote if that's what you guys are gonna do. That's all I say, is operate within the legal means of the resolution that was created back in the days.
I did, just so you know, every time they come up, I did consult with the number of the board members.
Yeah, I'm
Before
sure.
we put that.
I'm sure you do, and
But
I'm
you're
not
just
saying
trying
that
to
there's
dot the
anything
i's
wrong.
and
I'm
cross
not
the
saying there's anything wrong with it, I'm just saying you might wanna update that resolution. And my third thing I wanna bring up is, I'm looking into the public safety tax money and where that money is going. And as a citizen that I voted to support the public safety tax, it was my understanding that that money was to be used for the operation of the sheriff's department, to increase our public safety. And, you know, as a lot of citizens generally would be thinking that there would have plenty of more patrol officers, we would support the sheriff's department, we would increase the funding, and I'm sure that you guys have used that money for some of that stuff, right? But I don't know if all that money is being appropriated, to the best interest of the public safety of the citizens, meaning, you know, it's hard to cover 24/7 with 7 deputies, 6 dispatchers, but we have 9 correctional officers with 12 inmates, right? And I understand there's laws about that and you have to have that, but you might wanna consider that, public safety tax dollars, because I'm gonna look into that also, of where that money is going and those appropriations, and I think I'm not against the new jail at no part, and I think it's very, financially responsible of the county board to put some of that money back to have money for that. I think that's a great idea. But we need to make sure that we're also increasing our public safety with that public safety tax dollars that we as citizens voted to put in there. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
Can I follow up on one question he asked? About the Northern Gator County ambulance?
Yes, sir.
Where we were talking about the tax money being a year behind. Now, so when he started that ambulance service up there, did you hand him $250,000 the day he bought it?
Well, within
No,
days,
okay.
yes.
Within days?
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understand that
Yep.
there wasn't.
Nope,
Now,
there was no
did you-
delay.
Okay, but how did you collect it?
We did the levy early,
Mm-hmm.
and we did the bid early, so we knew what it was gonna be.
Did he get the payment all at one time?
No, he gets
It's
it, he
quarterly
gets it
payment?
quarterly.
Yeah, he gets it when the installments are
Yeah,
paid, correct?
Yeah.
First installment, second
Right.
installment, and then at the very end,
Yeah,
correct? Yeah, but you couldn't collect that a year ahead of time, does that make what I'm trying to ask a
No,
question?
we collected that. Our first check towards that probably came around July 1
Okay,
of that year that the contract started.
okay.
There's no 1 year, nothing happens, okay?
Yeah, but the way the tax works, we can levy up to a maximum of a certain percent, but we don't have to.
No.
Because it's based on what they bid.
Correct.
So we could levy 20%, but we may not need the 20%, so we could levy 15% to pay for the ambulance
Yeah,
service.
20
Correct.
cents per hundred is
Right,
maximum
right.
for a special.
So we don't always have to levy maximum, as long as we know what the bid's gonna be,
Okay.
that's why we can levy them.
Now, can public ask for a copy of, I guess would be I'll get it out, the end of the year on the ambulance service? What is, there's supposed to be certain funds still sitting there, correct?
In the ambulance service?
Yes, you have to provide one, so there initially had to be a budget set in there first to be able,
No.
I'm just trying to make sure.
I'll talk to you after the meeting, and
Okay.
I got a big interest in that, I'll talk to you after the meeting, but
Okay.
just so you know what, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but like
I'm
he's saying here is, my question was about who set our budget, because
Yes,
they
sir.
set ours to maximum, and that's where it's been.
Yeah.
And we didn't have, and maybe we did have a committee, and maybe I wasn't invited to these meetings,
You're not
but it
set
was
at
just,
maximum.
Not a max,
You're not set at maximum.
no,
we're not set at 2.0 or
No.
0.20?
no,
Hmm.
no.
No,
I'm just trying to make sure I understand
Okay.
all of it, I just want.
you're set, the levy's set on what they bid.
Right, no, I understand, but
Yeah.
I thought Jeremy told me we were 0.20, but I'll do that factual checking, it's all right, I appreciate it.
Anything else? Adam?
So y'all have my end of the month report in front of you.
Yep.
November numbers looked really good. Times were all better. I mean, our times are always good, but this month across the board, we were better than average and everywhere. I can tell you, I totaled up the number of calls. When we ended November, we're already ahead of where we finished the year last year. So it's been a really busy year so far. This month, it has not slowed down at all. We're just over the weekend, we had 45 calls, so we're getting into that respiratory season, still picking up quite a bit. But you guys can read all those numbers down. I'll touch on a couple. We taught 11 different classes and taught 92 students, so really a big month with our education department. As far as the quality indicators down at the bottom, we didn't actually have any cardiac arrest last month or this month, which is kind of odd, but that's, what's that? Yeah. So those where those NAs are coming from. Everything else looks really good. Second page, as always, is your destinations, but I don't really have much else to report unless you guys have questions for me.
You notice any difference between seasons, like more calls in the summer than the fall or winter, or you don't know?
No, just more along, if you look at your
look
numbers
at
on your
that,
top
yeah.
line, we only have 2 months in
Yeah, I
the
see
year
that.
of 2023 where we had a few less calls than the year previous as month to date. Now seasonally, there's different injury and illness patterns, but not any less calls. So
I
in
see.
summer, we see a lot more trauma, people are out on bikes,
Yeah.
motorcycles, farming, etc. Winter, we get into the depression season, we get into
COVID.
respiratory,
Yeah.
pneumonia, those type of things. Right, if we have big snows, big things like that, we'll see an increase in cardiac events.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any questions for Adam or myself?
Okay. Lisa, what up, you go ahead for your report since you're gonna have to speak.
Jeff had kind of alluded that he and I met with Jessica Key on HR issues, and we try to touch base with her fairly often since she's new to that position and using a new product. I talked to Augie. I need to take a look at the contract again and need to email Paycom just to express our concern about whether or not they're meeting their contractual obligation on a couple of issues. Had an Edgar County Public Health Department meeting, and Scott, you may want to speak more to that. It was a pretty, we know things are going well when our meetings are fairly brief, and that is the case. The new dentist is in and becoming a little more acclimated to her position and understanding Illinois Public Health Department requirements. She still has a couple of positions she has open. I don't think I really have any more to add on that one. I attended the evening human trafficking session. It was well received. Thank you to the paper for a good article on that. It's a tragic and concerning issue. And I attend some of these because somebody will say, hey, I'd sure like to see somebody from government there. I don't necessarily intend to become involved in any ongoing committees or anything, but when somebody says they'd like to have somebody from the public there, I'm certainly happy to do so and to bring back anything that I think maybe needs our consideration. At this time though, I was able to already tell them, how we've spent money, and not in this meeting per se or necessarily, but like when I go to a neighborhood watch one, to tell them where we have chosen to spend money to support others' efforts like HRC. Received an invitation to attend a Ross meeting. which I'm very happy to do. Interestingly, of course, that one is the same day as Public Board, so I'll be down here in the morning and then back here in the evening. Again, happy to do so. And I think that's all I have.
Any questions from the board for Lisa?
Oh, another thing I will say is Illinois Farm Bureau has a new president. It will be interesting to see if there is a change in Illinois Farm Bureau's position on wind and solar, because this president is not necessarily concerned with that.
The new one is not concerned.
Not so much.
Hmm.
You know, the wind farm company up around Pike County is having a heck of a time trying to get the wind farm going. You've been reading about in the Champaign paper?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's having a tough time. The company is Apex, I think's the name of the company. Yeah, they
Bad.
don't want it up there. Having a heck of a time.
So they haven't gotten enough landowners signed up?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the one north of my house, I don't think they're gonna have a problem with that, so, but they haven't stated anything about
Yeah.
Baker County that I am aware.
Okay. Phil, do you have anything? Carl?
No.
Russ? No. Dan?
I stopped shelter last week, talked to Andrea, she's full. Still can't get a part-time helper. She has somebody that she said would be really good, but doesn't have a driver's license, which would present a problem, especially on the
You
weekends.
could drive her around.
I see that.
I'd volunteer to do it. Yeah, don't do anything else, right?
So if you're not busy, you can do it, Scott. You're not busy?
Yeah, you're not doing anything other, Scott.
No.
Okay. So, right now it's on hold, so.
Well, just try to, have her keep punching to see if she can.
Linda's helping quite a bit too, which is good. And she has that lady from St. Mary's of the Woods, comes a couple days a week, does her computer stuff, so.
Yep.
Yeah, she has stuff on Facebook, I don't know if you saw it or not, she had 4 dogs on Facebook. Yeah. She works her bottom off.
Has she put an ad on our website?
Yeah, it was on the other day on the computer.
And it's been shared on Facebook from several
on
different
Facebook.
groups, so
Okay.
it's been publicized
Yes, it
quite a
is.
bit as far as Facebook
She gets a
goes.
lot of applicants, but most of them aren't very good, according to her anyway. And she did have dirt pour, do some work out there with gravel to take care of some of the muddy areas, so got that taken care of, so doing the best we can.
Okay, well, thank her for us. Augie, do you have,
No,
anything on the, the petitions or anything else? I assume that's all closed off?
that's all done. Last Monday, 4 o'clock.
And then that's set, when is that carved in stone?
Yeah, the petition filing period is over with, and so now those people will move on to the ballot
All right.
for the March election.
We have a couple of meetings coming up. There's a tabletop exercise out at ESDA on Thursday, the 14th at 10:30. And that is basically a run-through, like it says, at desk rather than out in the field. We'll have a field exercise next spring. We have a bid opening, unless it's canceled, on Thursday morning, the 14th at 10 a.m. Right here. And then we have, Carl, Andy, and I have negotiations on December 18th. So, and of course, we have the board meeting this coming Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So, yes, Carl.
On the agenda for Wednesday,
Yes, sir.
can you talk about the number 9 on the sewer extension with Edge Electric? I don't,
In one of the ways to possibly fund this, the highway department has used Interstar money in the
Right,
past and then paid them back over time. we went ahead and asked Interstar if they would help fund or loan us money to fund that project and then pay it back over 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Okay. So this is just signing paperwork for the application, not actually getting money, because we don't even know if we're gonna need it till we
Right.
get the bid.
Yes, and we've already passed over it a couple times because other folks have needed the money.
Right,
Okay, so we don't wanna be taking money away from somebody else that might need it.
What's the interest rate on
Nothing,
that? Okay, good.
it's 0 interest rate.
Okay.
It's a program that was started by the feds, how many years ago? Quite a few years ago. And they salted money into Interstar for community development. Okay? See if there's any, go ahead.
and are we still on the time schedule for the bid opening and all that in
Yep.
January?
Yep. We'll find
Or
out,
take it to bid?
take it to bid in
In
January.
January for the new
Right.
facility.
And then we're hoping to have a document out to the board to look at for the ambulance service, the bid requirements here in the next study session or so, so that we can authorize the bidding of that and get going on that and not waiting until the last minute. Also, next Tuesday, we'll have to get clarification, but I think we're gonna have a meeting out here at 10 o'clock to review projects with CORE. Okay? It's scheduled. Now, whether they already called the one off the day after the first, the 2nd of January. We were supposed to have one the 2nd of January, and they've already called that one off in there because of the timing and the holiday. Okay?
So they're
So
like the one we normally have every
Right.
2 weeks.
right,
It's next Tuesday at
Yes.
10 unless something changes.
right.
I'm probably getting in trouble for asking this question, but
You usually do, Dan.
they don't,
You're fine.
they don't work every Friday on the courthouse. Is there a reason why?
Well, I can't say that they don't.
I go by once in a while on Fridays, not every Friday, but once in a while there's Friday that there's
I was
nobody
thinking
there.
because last Thursday I saw them all leaving town and it was rain Friday, 'cause I think they probably anticipated that it
Could
wasn't
be
going to
temperature too,
be
right?
raining.
Since they're way up,
There isn't too much left to do up there.
No.
no, I wouldn't wanna be up there either, but I'm just wondering,
Boy, did you take a look at some of the aerial shots of
I
the
saw them,
copper
yeah.
and all that?
yeah,
We're gonna see if.
they're way up the top now too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand, I just wondered.
Drawing from the
We have received all of the insurance money that we need to accomplish what we're gonna task to do in the spring to repair the upper levels of the
What about that
courthouse.
south side that blew out?
Yeah, that includes that.
Did they find somebody to sculpture the, metal?
My understanding is they have, yes.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good.
So, that's that's almost
Yeah.
artist work rather
Oh, yeah.
than,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that's- yeah.
Okay, just wondered.
No, that's fine.
But it might be spring before they do.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely,
Finish
yes.
that.
I understand
It's
that.
gonna be March or April, I imagine, until they're
Yeah.
back up there.
Understand.
All of that will be the large crane work when they're
Yeah.
there. And also putting the,
The one I wouldn't want to be in it.
and also putting the hands back on the clocks are all being fabricated
Yeah,
and all of that,
understand.
so.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before the meeting this morning? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Russ moves. Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay.
I got time.
We're adjourned. Thank you all.
I got time.
Appreciate everybody being here.